Holla, Oklahoma, baby. I'm going to talk about Oklahoma. Do a little business report. Actually, I'm going to use Oklahoma as an example. What is an example of Oklahoma? Okay. Sometimes in these videos, I'm like, who's going to see this stuff? And, are they going to understand it? And I'm like anybody else. I want my stuff to be okay. I want it to be more than okay. In fact, Oklahoma had I'm from Oklahoma. I'll always have a heart for that state. I love everything about Oklahoma except the economy, the schools, and the way they treat the Indians, but not in that order. It's really hard to believe that we still have a group of people that are imprisoned. And you're like, what? A group of people in prison? Like, that's not the Jewish people. Like, no. There's actually, the government has literally created like these little camps for people, and they've called them reservations. And anyway, it's real weird that there's a whole group of people, there's an entire subculture in Oklahoma that is still imprisoned. And just look at the statistics if you really want to see what government intervention looks like, go look at the Indians. All right, I love the Indians, but I'm going to talk about Oklahoma, talk about business. I'm going to kind of make fun of Oklahoma because you know what they say. Here we go. I heard something once that you can only make fun of your own people, like, for example, like, if I ever, want to make fun of Christians, right? Everybody's like, Christians are so judgmental and just stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they kind of are, because I kind of are one. I'm more of a Jesusan. I could make fun of you could basically make fun of your own kind. And so I'm going to make fun of lots of people in these videos. I want to make fun of Oklahoma, and I want to kind of talk about the R word. The R word. You're like, what? What's the R word? I'm going to talk about rejection a little bit. And I'm going to use Oklahoma as an example. Like, for example, you know how I said I love Oklahoma? I mean, I love Garth. By the way, I got a great Garth. I saw Garth Brooks in Vegas, dude. I got to tell you that story. Remind me to tell you that story. One of the best performers on the planet. Like, how I can basically, if you go see, okay, here's the thing. Go see Garth Brooks. How do I say this succinctly? Because I want to talk about Oklahoma and how their schools suck and how their economy sucks and how. But then I want to tell you my Garth Brooks story, and I'm kind of this is out of the Garth Brooks or How to Code. All right, basically, long story short, Garth Brooks is one of the best performers, and I'll tell you that story later. I went to Vegas. I broke up with this girl. Ended up, here's the Reader's Digest version. I was dating this girl. Really, really liked her. We were just kind of at that point where, like, dude, this could go somewhere. And so I said, hey, of course, Garth Brooks, he always talks about how he's going to retire every 15 minutes. And so I'm like, so I tell this girl, I said, hey, let's just go see Garth. He's in Vegas. He's going to retire. I know he's going to retire again, but, who knows? And so we ended up, we booked the flight. We were ready to go. And boom, guess what? Guess what happened? We broke up. And called bullshit. It's just hard dating, when you're 40 and divorced. You've kind of seen all the tricks, so it's kind of easier to call bullshit when it happens. And so I called bullshit, and we ended up breaking up. And I had a decision. I remember exactly where I was, where I said, I know I'm going to lose this girl, but I don't know if I'm going to lose Garth. So I went and saw Garth in Vegas, and dude, it was one of my first concerts, because I spent the last 10 years growing a business, and I saw him in Vegas, and dude, holy shit. That guy was amazing, and I had 2 tickets because remember that chick and I were going to go, and it was kind of a God thing, They pushed me down because I said, well, can I have an upgrade if I give this other ticket back? They said sure, so they kind of put me between, there's not that many solo people going to a Garth Brooks show, so they kind of nuzzled me. I was kind of between 50 shades of obesity there. And I was real close. I was probably 5 or 6 rows up, and I saw one of the best performers in the world. Like, truly, you have no idea. And I'm gonna say it. And I'll challenge any mofo to. Okay, here we go. There are some people that have changed the trajectory of music: Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Eminem, and Garth Brooks. When you see the VMAs, they should really just call the VMAs the Garth Brooks Awards. Or, hey, I got another Garth, but there's before Garth and there's after Garth. And there's very few musicians from Oklahoma, but there's very few musicians in the world that have literally changed the trajectory of the genre that they were in, except I could think of, again, Elvis, Michael Jackson, Eminem, and Garth Brooks. Anyway, that's my Oklahoma story. Garth Brooks, I love you and your beautiful wife. I think he's out of Tulsa, Yukon. All right, here we go. Business report. I'm going to talk about rejection. I know that's kind of a hard left, but I got to talk about it because I want to talk about some other shit. But if I don't talk about rejection, then you're like, I don't get what he's talking about. Garth, he's talking about business report. He's so fucking random. I don't know. I mean, now he wants me to, he's talking about how kids are learning to code. All right, here we go. I want you to envision me. Here I am. I'm rocking my, what am I rocking? My plaid here. Got my, I haven't put my contacts in. Going to go to the bridge and do a Bible study and going to kind of share that. But I talk about rejection. I want you to picture this. All right, I'm going to picture a real life. Okay, so here I'm 40 years old. I'm college educated. I even graduated. I had a 3-something GPA. I ain't scared. Went to college. I've started 2 companies. One company was very successful. Ended up having employees, blah, blah, blah. Closed it down after 10 years. I've gone through regulation stuff. I've been divorced. I have 2 kids. What other bullet points do I have? Oh, yeah, I'm a #MRA. Kind of see things a little bit differently after my civil trial. I have 2 beautiful, beautiful, healthy children that I never see, thanks to #MRA. I've done a lot more traveling. I've lived in Colorado, San Francisco, and I like to read the paper. And you know what I'm realizing is that the United States educational system is failing. It's just literally failing. And what other countries are doing is they're literally teaching, like just yesterday, I ran into some people from France. I've met people from Spain earlier, another person from Spain. They're so, San Francisco is an international company, or international city, and you're like, I get it. What's your point, Garth Brooks, and coding and rejection, and you want to talk about how you're going to go in front of like the Oklahoma school board and talk about how they're full of shit? I thought you liked Oklahoma. I thought you thought Oklahoma was okay. I don't get it. See, here's the point: is as much as I love Oklahoma, there's things about it I don't like. I don't like their economy. I don't like their school systems. I don't like the way they treat the Indians. But specifically, if I were to take all my experience and all the data, if I were to take even this paper, the San Francisco Chronicle, and meet with the superintendent of education or the governor and say, guys, let me show you where the rest of the world is, and let me show you where Oklahoma is. You know what they would say? Well, John, I really appreciate your concern. They give me some sort of lip service of bullshit. And then if I said, no, really, I see a day when the United States is supplanted by another country. You're like, I'm against. Okay, you're one of those guys that like supplantation. Like, I don't even, this is not supplantation. We like reservations, not okay. We don't like plantations. We like reservations. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. See, I love the people of Oklahoma. And so you see what I'm doing is if I were to have an imaginary meeting with a person of authority in the Oklahoma school system and say, guys, let's talk about education honestly, and let me show you a newspaper of the New York Times. Let me show you the San Francisco Chronicle. Let me take out the jobs. Let me show you the jobs that people have in these cities. And then let's look at your curricula. Let's look at your test scores. Let's look at where you're putting emphasis and what's going to happen to our children. And you know what? That could be my heart. My heart could be to improve and protect and to solidify and to strengthen. But you know what? How they would probably receive that? Rejection. They would find a way not to email me back. They'd find a way to, well, John, have you considered like maybe going to school and getting a PhD like in No. See, what they would do is they'd kind of distract me with, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of skipping the bullshit and I'm just going to put it on YouTube and say, you know what? When you speak your truth to people who are not ready to hear it, no matter what you're talking about, they're going to probably reject you. Because a lot of times rejection is less about you. And this is so hard to get. It's taken me years to get this. That most of the rejection I have faced in my life was not about me coming from a place of deficit or being less, but more about their inability, or their lack of strength, their lack of wisdom, or even just their lack of willingness. So I'm going to talk about a lot of things. Oklahoma, school system. Guys, dear Superintendent of Education. Dear Governor of Oklahoma, and I have one of these for every state I've lived in, Texas, Durango. There's even things about San Fran I want to talk about. But anyway, I'm going to make fun of my own right now. If you know anybody in Oklahoma that knows the Superintendent of Education, send them this video. Say, hey, there's this hippie guy on YouTube from Oklahoma. He talking about Garth Brooks is okay, and then he named VMAs the Garth Awards. And he's talking about shit, and he thinks you should just pick up the San Francisco Chronicle. There it is right there. Pick up the San Francisco Chronicle, and if you could just look at the jobs in there and shit, and then ask yourself how many people of all of your collective high schools are even capable of working in that city. Oh, motherfucker, he just keep fucking. And then what they'll do is they'll do ad hominem attacks, because there's something that says when someone doesn't like what you say, they could dismiss you, but the next thing is that they'll start to talk about you, and they'll start to literally call you names. Well, see that hippie guy on YouTube? Yeah, I'm a hippie guy on YouTube. Hello, my name is Jonathan. All right, guys, got some other things I want to talk to you about. But hey, rejection is not so much about your weakness. It's about sometimes their weakness. All right. Hope I helped. You guys have a great day. Email me, Americana417@gmail.com. Seriously, if you know anybody who knows a superintendent of education, I worked for Sandy Garrett at one point for one summer. So who is the new superintendent of education of Oklahoma? Send this video to them and say, guys, are we teaching our kids how to code? Are we teaching our... No. Okay. All right. Email that person. Email the, in fact, who's the Daily Oklahoman editor-in-chief? I don't even know. But hey, share this video with whoever could actually improve the education. And you're like, well, I don't know what to say. It took you 12 minutes to say it. I don't even like Garth. Say, all you got to do is say, hey, send them the San Francisco Chronicle, the one ads, the jobs, and say, this is what the world is hiring. What are we doing? You guys have a great day. Americana417@gmail.com.